The fight of the century is seemingly off, Spencer, this morning as Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua clash in a heated Twitter spat. We've all been involved in Twitter spats, but this was pretty damn furious. Joshua labelling Tyson Fury a fraud. He said that the world now sees you for the fraud you are. You've let boxing down. You lied to fans and led them on. Used my name for clout, not a fight. Bring me any championship fighter who can handle the business correctly, he said. Basically, this is all to do with the fact that Tyson Fury announced the fight at the weekend after months of negotiations, and then all of a sudden there was a judgment in the US which meant that he can't take the fight anyway. Just explain the context of it for us.
Well, it's just, to be honest, I think the fight is still, it's not off. It's still hanging on by a shoestring. It's been on and off, for some time now, but that was a massive blow to the fight. I think that Deontay Wilder is now demanding some $20 million, I've heard, to step aside, if he'll step aside and allow this fight to go on. But I think Joshua's team are now in talks with Alexander Usyk, who's a WBO mandatory contender, so he wants his shot now. Wilder, Fury, that might happen. And if they've got to go through those fights, Fury and Joshua, we may never see that because they're not foregone conclusions. Those, if Wilder, Fury, free. We know how Wilder hits. He is dangerous. And Alexander Usyk is very dangerous as well. So I'm praying that we get the fight, Sam, if I'm honest. But it seems further away than ever right now.
Let's speak to Frank Warren, ask him if he thinks it's further away than ever. He's Tyson Fury's promoter, and he's live on the show on talkSPORT on YouTube and Facebook as well. You can follow us there, or you can tweet us as well, at Sam Adderface and at SJ Opinion. Simon's in the studio. Frank, good morning to you.
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
Hey,
We're
Frank.
good. This fight seems further away than ever, Spencer says. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, obviously, everyone was aware there was an arbitration situation, and Anthony Joshua was aware of that, as was Matchroom. We all signed back in February an agreement moving forward how we would negotiate, and in that agreement, it referred to the arbitration, which was, which we now had the decision on. And so it's not a shock for anyone at all that's come out of the blue. The arbitration hearing was an ongoing thing. We talked about it many times on the programme before.
Yeah. Yes.
So what happens next then? Because obviously last night's Twitter spat was rather unseemly. How did you view it?
Well, I don't want to get all evangelic. I just don't want to get my knickers in a twist over it. It's that's Twitter. Who cares? I mean, I find all that stuff pretty boring. I want to see a fight. I don't want to see them writing letters to each other. That's what we want to see, and that's what we all were collectively working towards. But this is a spanner in the works, and obviously it was a legal dispute, and the arbitrator has given his decision. So his decision is what it is, and I can't be. And we've got to resolve the position which Bob Aaron's doing in the States. He's talking to Al Heyman, who represents Deontay Wilder, to try and to resolve the situation. And it's resolvable probably by the two of them fighting, because the talks of the amount of money that's wanted, that's just not going to happen. It's not feasible.
That's what I was going to ask you, Frank. Is the resolution to this money? Because I look at Deontay Wilder and what was done to him in the second fight, and I can't see, despite the fact that he's a fighting man, will have great pride, really why he wants to get in a ring with Tyson Fury again, because I think he'll do it to him again. But is the resolution here money? And perhaps, if that's the case, is it also a sacrificing of a two-fight deal between Fury and Joshua back-to-back?
I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's a number of things, really, Simon. Money is part of it, but it's how much money.
Yeah.
And that is a problem. Number one. Number two is, Anthony Joshua is not bound by any decision, and if he were, which I don't think either he will beat Tyson, but if he were to beat Tyson, he wouldn't want to be bound to fight Wilder. So we've got all these various issues. So the most simplistic thing to do,
Get around a table.
Well, if you think about it, you've asked me on numerous occasions, is the fight signed when it's happening? You've never had an answer from me saying it's signed. Well, despite all the things that have gone out, things that have been said, I won't go there because it wasn't signed.
Yeah.
And the thing that Tyson put out the weekend was that that he was given comfort from Prince Khaled of Saudi Arabia that this, like it's that the terms were agreed. But obviously that was all subject to, as I say, to the decision of the arbitration. Having said that, lawyers are lawyers. The people representing Tyson were very confident they were going to win, and obviously Wilder's people were confident. At the end of the day, the arbitrator gave his decision. Maybe that was because of the message that Tyson put out. I don't know. But he's given his decision. We've got to deal with it realistically. And realistically as well, I don't know whether that fight would have gone on in August anyway, because it's not a great time of the year in Saudi Arabia. The best time for any fight in Saudi Arabia is probably December, when it's cooler there, and hopefully the COVID situation has really been dealt with. So these two guys will probably have their respective fights. I think Tyson will fight Wilder, and the WBO will then order Anthony Joshua to fight Usyk, which they will do, I think, tomorrow. And then Anthony Joshua's got to decide whether he's going to vacate that title or fight Usyk.
Where's the WBC, which is the belt that Tyson holds, they must have known this as well. They're sanctioning this fight. Part of the sanctioning of this fight is for one of their belts. Where are they in this, Frank? And the other thing I wanted to ask you as well, given the scale of this fight, and this is going to be easy for me to say, right, but I'm going to say it all the same. Given the scale of this fight and the amount of dough that's being paid, isn't it really just a case of Tyson Fury has to swallow a little bit and maybe give Wilder what he wants, $15 million or whatever he wants? Because Tyson's a big boy. He signed a contract for 3 fights, and it didn't happen for a variety of reasons. They've lost in arbitration. Isn't it a little bit of Tyson's got to swallow this and maybe pony up the money?
Well, actually, Simon, I hear where you're coming from. They signed actually 2 contracts. The first contract was a fight and a rematch, and then what happened? It was, if you remember, it was given as a draw.
Yeah.
So that contract's dead. Then a new contract was signed with a rematch clause in it, and that contract was because Top Rank, Bob Arum's company, were the American promoters. That was done with them and Tyson and Wilder's side. So because obviously we're not based in the States, it wasn't. And we weren't a signatory to that contract. So the situation is that obviously they all knew what they knew what they were. And if that had been me, I don't think I would have signed a rematch clause. I fancied Tyson to have won it. But anyways, the fact is it was signed, and the position is now, and it's really simplistic, as you say. Do you want to pay this money or not? What Tyson's saying, he doesn't want it. I think it is a reasonable amount. You consider it, but it's not a reasonable amount.
I mean,
it's not a reasonable amount of money. What's being asked? I've seen some of the stuff that's been shown to me. Put money on play, that's the price of play for you and on this crap. It doesn't work like that, And does he deserve that? I mean, for me, I don't think he's got anything in having the fight. But I don't see Deontay Wilder having the beating of Tyson Fury
the danger we've got though, Frank, is that if these guys do have to fight their mandatories like Alexander Usyk, he's a danger for Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder because he carries that firepower. And I'm with you, Frank. I think that Fury wins the fight comfortably, but there is a big danger still that he could get knocked out. So what I'm saying is, if these two guys have got to come through these mandatory fights, then it puts it in danger that we may never see Joshua versus Fury, because they're not foregone conclusions, are they? They are dangerous fights, and would it not be better?
Then all the dough goes.
And then all the money goes.
There is another way to look at it. Tyson's thing is legal, so he can't get out of it unless there was some accommodation. But at the moment, it's miles apart. Regarding AJ, he could settle his one by not fighting. Just pay Usyk some step-aside money. He can do the same thing. He doesn't have to fight. He can do exactly the same thing. Tyson's been inactive for what now? Time it comes round, if he fights in July, that will be, nearly 18 months out of the ring. That's a long time for him.
Sorry, Frank. Could Tyson give up the WBC title? Is that an option?
No, because what we want to do is to unify the 4 belts.
Yeah, but I'm saying, if to keep the fight burning, is it an option that, or is he legally bound to keep the WBC title, or can he vacate and still have the fight?
He's legally bound to. give. He's legally bound to a rematch to Wilder. He's legally bound. So whether he had the title or not, he's legally bound.
Okay. Frank, we're going to let you go just because the line's a little bit dodgy, but we've got the gist of what's happened. Thank you very much for joining us. It's clear now that fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua is not going to take place in August. I mean, Frank's pretty much come out and said that. There's not much chance of that being resurrected until the other situations with Usyk and Wilder are sorted out. Once that is done, we may well see it, but it might be some way off. So, I just wonder whether or not the boxing public are a little bit fed up of all the talk and yet never seeing the actual fight. Because I remember going back many, many years ago, we talked about Mayweather-Pacquiao for years and years and years and years. And by the time we got it, it wasn't the fight that we wanted to see.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.